Ladies and gentlemen, may I now invite on stage Mr. Shiyam, Chief Technical Strategy Officer, South Asian Technologies Private Limited, as our guest speaker for this session.
Hi, good afternoon, guys. Paul, I think you're lucky you got the session just after lunch. They're going to fall asleep now, not when you were presenting. So let me just quickly get started. So I think I have 20 minutes that's showing here, so I'll keep it short and sweet. So thanks a lot, guys, for coming here. First off, it means a lot that you're all here, and we'd like to make your time here worthwhile. So I hope the content that we have here will resonate with you, and I hope there's a lot of takeaways from this as well. So I work for South Asian Technologies. We are a value-added distributor for cybersecurity products here in Sri Lanka, Maldives, and a few other regions. We also do other technologies, but let's just stick to cybersecurity today. So we have over 65, 70 plus technologies, vendors per se, that are tools that can be leveraged by almost every single enterprise here in Sri Lanka and the other regions. So what we do is we obviously raise awareness on different areas and different technologies, the spaces that we play in. And in today's context, we all heard the word AI, AI, AI. I think I'm sure most of you all are fed up hearing that word by now. So I'm just going to cut it short, talk about why you should probably consider security when it comes to AI infrastructures, which is one. Then at the same time, we'll talk about the different types of risks that come about, and also the kind of tools or technologies that might come into play. I'm not here to sell products. I'm not here to talk about I will never even mention a vendor name here, but I just want you guys to know that there is security tools that can actually bridge these gaps that we see right now. So as SAT, we go as South Asian Technologies Group, and we have 4 different subsidiaries that's listed down below. So that's why I'm here today to talk about the different technologies that we have that can help with this whole AI, craze that's going on right now. So when we talk about why it matters, right, when it comes about AI and hackers and all of that, as you can see, there's a lot of terms. Again, just only a few here. There's so much more that I can go on about, right? So let's start defining it from machine learning. I'm kidding. I'm not going to define all of this. All of you all probably know all of these. So I'm going to cut that short and just talk about 3 simple things, right? How AI is helping us. This probably was heard in multiple sessions today, seen in the flyers and everything about the fact that it's a dual-edged sword, and we're not sure how it will help us or whether it will, be harmful to us. That's one. Then, of course, when you talk about the hackers leveraging these AI tools right now, and it's freely available. I'm sure most of you all would have at least tried to create a phishing email and checked with ChatGPT if it actually does create it or not, right? So hackers have gotten multiple tools now. It's faster, smarter, and they also have come up with very much more sophisticated attacks opposed to back then. Back then, it would have been just a malware saying shabir.exe. It's a signature, you block it. Now it's no longer that. Now it's changing itself after it comes into your environments. It's changing itself and evading itself from all the other security tools that you probably have already in place, right? So hackers have gotten a step ahead, basically. And then when you talk about us, guys like myself and my organization and most CISOs and everyone else who's all here, they probably are, I would say, fall under the category of the defenders, right? So we also have gotten the chance to leverage these tools and get a bit faster with how we respond to these kind of attacks and stuff like that. And the most important thing is being proactive, right? Back then, we were very, very reactive. A malware has to come in, you have your antivirus tool or something, scans it, blocks it. It's reactive. It's like someone hits you, and then you hit them back. But being proactive is, I'm not telling you all to hit anyone before anything happens, but being proactive is, you're ready. You know someone's going to hit you. You know someone's going to breach you. You know that something's going to come over your wall or wherever your loopholes are. So being aware of that is very important, and I feel AI is helping guys like us do that. So just 3 areas that I thought I'll touch base on. And then moving on that, like some facts and figures. We saw a couple of presentations that spoke about facts and figures and all that, but my key areas that I want to cover is the fact that 96% of all IT leaders agree that it's critical to have, cybersecurity for their AIs. These are all facts and figures by the sources are also mentioned below. I can share those with you all too. Then 77% of the companies have identified that they've been breached, right? I mean, there are some teams who are using AI here Prageet spoke about how they are leveraging AI internally. The fact that it's not phasing outside is why I would say, is very, very secure right now. But there might be instances where organizations might need to release it to the open. And if they do, they are bound to have security attacks. So organizations right now seem to have been compromised. That's one. And then 97% of all IT leaders say securing that AI is their top priority. I mean, 96, 97, look at that, it's almost 100%, right? Probably the 2, 3 people who didn't vote on that maybe didn't understand the question. But I believe it should be 100, ideally speaking. But the most important benefits that we see, and in fact, this is something that came from Gartner themselves, from the peer reviews and stuff like that. So they say that obviously it's going to increase your detection speed by 74%, sorry. Your predictive capabilities, I spoke about being proactive. The predictive capabilities are also increasing by 67%. And then you reduce your errors, which is another big headache we had. Now, all these SOC teams, we have analysts, multiple panelists and speeches before spoke about leveraging it and reducing their noise. So that's exactly what AI can help you do that. Right? It brings down your room for error, because we're all humans. We might read something wrong, or we might see 10 or hundreds of this particular event, and you might miss a small comma or a particular dot or a particular number. So errors are always bound to happen as humans, and with AI, it's definitely going to help us. So that's just a few facts and figures that I thought I'd share. And then when you talk about why all of this matters, is about the MITRE adversarial threat landscape for artificial intelligence systems. Don't worry, you all are not going to remember that. We can call it MITRE Atlas. So before we talk about MITRE Atlas, I'd like to talk about the MITRE attack framework. I hope you all might be aware of it, but if you all are not, so it's basically a framework that's developed by multiple sources, communities plus governments and other providers out there, who feed in tactics, techniques, and procedures that attackers use to come into environment. Right? So these were the frameworks we used all these years with all our customers. So we understand what are the tactics guys would use. You all are not going to remember all of this either, but from your left to your right is how these guys come in, the tactics they're using. So they'll either come through reconnaissance, they evade, they do whatever, right? Multiple different ways that these attackers come in. And everything going below is the techniques that they use. So for every single tactic, there is a technique. And for that technique, if you go in, there's a procedure how they do it. So this information has been very vital to organizations like us and to most vendors that we work with, because they developed frameworks or they developed security products or portfolios, rules, you name it, all around these. And ideally speaking, if you can stop an attack in any one of these stages, you are ideally stopping that whole attack from breaching you in any way or form, right? So this is something we've always used. This is something most of our vendors also have pre-built out of the box. And considering the whole Atlas framework, so MITRE has come up with a new one simply for AI. So if you think about it, it's quite similar to what you saw on the attack framework, but on this adversarial threat landscape for AI systems, it's a little different. But if you do look at all the tactics and the techniques, you will see that there are multiple different ways that these attackers will try to breach your AI platform. Your AI platform, your infrastructure, your SaaS, you name it, AI, right? So multiple different ways that they might try to get in. So again, not expecting you all to remember this, but do remember MITRE Atlas, because I personally believe right now, since MITRE attack framework was something we used, and I know for a fact, the next 2-3 years, all the products that are going to come out are going to be using this framework. They're going to tell you, okay, in this framework, these are the ways that this attacker came into your IT, your AI infrastructure, and whatnot. So it's very vital. So just do keep that in mind. Then another thing, I spoke about this at the last Data Privacy Summit, but I think it's very important to talk about here as well. Why this matters is the fact that the people, the process, and the technologies in any organization should all be in sync in order for any project to be successful. Right? So let's assume the people don't know what they're doing in the organization. You have a process in place, and you have a tool in place. It's going to be poor adoption. No one's going to adopt to that. They're not going to be able to, they're not going to actually use it as it should be used. Let's assume you don't have the process. The people know why they're doing it, and the technology, you have the tool. It's inconsistent. Some people might do it because they think they have to do it. Some people might not do it because they have no clue they need to do it, right? So finally, let's assume you have no technology. You have the people know what they want. The process is in place. It's obviously a burden because you're not going to be able to do it as much as you want to because you don't have the technology or the tool in place, right? So as you can see, these are all simply put, as long as you have the people, process, and technology all in place is when you would have a successful project. And I believe this applies to anything. Nothing to do with AI, nothing to do with cybersecurity. You name it, it can even be installing a simple software in your organization. This is very, very vital. So something I thought we should keep in mind as well. And so I now the next couple of slides, 5 slides, I'm just only going to talk to you about a few, I would say, attacks and how defenders like us would probably get involved. Right? There's millions of attacks and different ways that we can get involved, but I just thought I'll just stick to 5. 5 interesting ones I thought that actually resonate with me and in fact most customers that I've reached out to. So with AI, currently, attackers have the capability to start creating sophisticated malware, right? We spoke of that. But if you think about it in a more deeper state of it, there's polymorphic malware right now, which is once it's in your environment, and maybe now let's assume it's one of you guys who came into this building here right now. You came in, dressed up this way and all that. But the minute you come in here, you start changing your attires, and you are now dressed up as someone else. But internally here, we probably don't know, because we didn't see this person who's right now in here come through the entrance, right? So, and it's always changing. They are going to keep changing, and they are also using AI for that. They understand, okay, there's anti-malware tool here. How do I evade it? So these tools have all grown. So it's no longer just an antivirus is being required, or no longer just behavior protection. There is so many things that will have to get involved. So so everything on the left-hand side would be what the attackers could do. What's on the right would be what the defenders could do. So AI will rewrite your malwares for the attackers, and then it can mutate itself to dodge all these scans and all these different security solutions that we typically place in enterprises. And it scales up very cheap as well, because now there are platforms that these attackers have built out there. And it's not for attacking purposes, it's for AI purposes. But it's leveraged by individuals for their own personal gain. So as you can see, this is a problem, right? So when it comes to the defender's perspective of it, we can also use AI to track those behaviors. We're not going to look at the code. We're not going to look at, okay, what are the thousands of code that's there. But instead, what is the application doing in the organization? How is it changing? Is it accessing unnecessary things? Is it going to networks that I have isolated? Is it trying to access admin credentials, unused credentials like Paul mentioned before, right? These are all few things that we can use AI to understand if something's going wrong. So do leverage those. So it can predict mutations from global data. Right now we're talking about massive data sets that are in the backends of all these AIs. At the end of the day, this global data is also fed to you as a user of that particular platform, right? So a lot of data that you can get that will obviously, the more data any IT person has, the better it is, or I would say cybersecurity person has, the better it is, because that's where all the information is. And then there's also methods. There are different tools that can help with sandboxing these, rather than just looking at the code. Like I mentioned, you'll go to the level of emulating it, looking at what's going on, what are the access it's doing, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of other things I can talk to you here, but let's just keep it short to these. So then another kind of attack that I think is growing now is phishing attacks. I mean, phishing has been there since day one, I would say, but they've evolved as well. It's no longer just, hi, I am this, I would like this, click this link. It's not that anymore. They're personalized. They do social engineering. They can understand a specific person's whole character, or how they talk, or how they interact with people on the internet, or whatever it is. Or if they gain access to emails, feed in all that data of how that person sends emails, understand that whole content, and create a phishing email. This is not with the intention of clicking a link, but with the intention of maybe resetting the CEO's password. Or maybe you can even go to the point of calling, like calling them and saying, okay, I am so-and-so, I need access to this. And because it sounds like so-and-so, they're going to get access. So phishing is no longer just that email that you already received. It's more along the lines of understanding the person, and it's targeted. They are targeting you, and to target you, they need data. And that data is out there. It's as simple as that. AIs are leveraging all that and making it worse for guys like us. So yeah, it can mimic colleagues using the social data that they can gather out there using these AIs. And sadly, it's only gotten, it's boosted by 300%. So the chance of someone actually clicking on one of these links is higher than what they did back in the day through those phishing emails. So we are bound to click something like this. And I'm certain, like example, if Boshan had sent me a link on this whole thing with a ticket link or something like that, I would have clicked it, right? Because I know you were supposed to send me these details. But what if it was an AI leveraging all the chats and messages we've been having, and it knows that that's the best place to get me to click the link? That's where it's heading. That's where AI is taking it, unfortunately. But there are other tools that we can probably get in place, right? So there are tools that will probably understand the tone, timings. I mean, I'm certain no one's going to call. Have any of you all gotten a call from your CEO at like 2 o'clock in the morning asking for a reset password? Anyone? No, right? So, I mean, sometimes the person at the help desk might not think twice, right? Okay, shit, it's the CEO. I need to share these credentials. But leverage tools that can understand the context opposed to just what's going on and just addressing that right then and there, but looking at the bigger picture and addressing those there. So auto-blocking fake emails, whatnot, and at the same time training these. So there are tools, there are platforms that our companies sign up with that can help organizations with these. So first, the most important thing is awareness that there is threats, and then the fact that there are tools, and then we can probably help there to bridge those gaps. Shadow AI, we spoke about this as well, quite a few. I think Paul covered this too, about the fact that shadow IT, right? So, I mean, honestly speaking, I've been in cybersecurity for the last 16 years, and every single IT technical scary phrase that we've heard now has the word AI before or after it, right? So, shadow IT was the term a couple of years ago, and now it's shadow AI. Same thing at the end of the day, we don't know who's using what, we don't know who's going onto what cloud or what SaaS or what platform, uploading what data, we have no clue, right? So the attackers are definitely going to be looking for, simulating multiple types of attacks using AIs, looking for vulnerabilities, checking out, doing multiple scans. All these are freely available for them. I would say freely, but maybe at a cost, but if they are able to do it in a large scale, it's bound to become technically free to the guys, right? So using the dark web data, they're able to target these attacks. So let's assume information is on the dark and deep web about some enterprise. And these guys, the attackers, can leverage that information and identify what those vulnerabilities in those areas are, and look at who are the top VIP users who are probably using those applications, or shadow IT, whatnot, and they're able to get into your environment. So we might not necessarily look at it to that extent of, okay, what is Shabir using, what is so on and so forth using. But if you have a holistic inventory or a picture of what's going on in the organization, it will only help. It will help you prevent these threats, and obviously looking through patterns, the behavior, like I mentioned, we'll be able to stop these risks in real time, and at the same time, share it across the teams, because that's another important thing. There's no point just me getting to know, okay, something is bad. I need to let my whole organization know that this is bad, and they need to be able to take action on it instantly, as well as real time is the need right now. So AI can help there too. Then autonomous swarms. So what I can say here is it's more along the lines of your DDoS attacks, right? Now, back then again, it would have been some person who had a server farm who was doing denial of service attacks or distributed denial of service attacks. But now, with the use of AI and AI frameworks and platforms sitting around the world, these guys can start flooding networks in no time, right? Literally no time, I would say so. And in terabit, compared to like just individual, like thousands of packets coming in, we're talking about terabytes worth of data or network connections coming in and stopping these attacks, or stopping these infrastructures, I would say. If it's a bank, could be a web application, your portal. Could be, if it's, let's assume it's like some e-commerce website, it could be your payment gateway itself. So there's multiple ways attackers have been, denying service, and now with AI, it's only gotten easier for them. Right? So with us, for the defenders, with the tools that we probably have to provide, we can help isolate these kind of attacks within seconds and predict those before they happen, because, of course, understanding the adversary, understanding the industry, understanding the times, let's assume there was that whole time when the whole, log4j vulnerability was out, right? So let's assume the AIs did scans in environment and told you where your log4j vulnerabilities are. Would that not have helped every organization? It would have. But we didn't have these at the start, so now that these are there, they will only come into play. You can auto-enforce and restrict access for specific networks, domains, so on and so forth. And finally, when it comes to this use cases, data discovery, another very important thing. Now, we spoke of PDPA a couple of months ago, the whole Personal Data Protection Act. These are also important, right? You need to know where your data resides and where your information is sitting. Is it in my databases, my servers, my cloud, my hardware, my hard disk, whatever. So what we can do, use AI for, I mean, attackers could use AI to find out what your sensitive data is in the organization. If we can do that, of course, the attackers can do that too, right? So classify is, whatever the information that's classified can probably be leaked, and those can be the targeted areas that I want to go to as an attacker. And then again, there's many ways of evading certain things. If you think about classification, you have a watermark across it. But when you talk about like an attacker, they probably look at ways of evading that. So AI tools definitely come into play and make things hard for us. So when it comes to us, we have tools that can do auto-classification or categorization of the sensitive data. You can tag the data instantly, and then make sure that you track it wherever it is. If it's gone out, where did it go? So these are all tools that we have in our dispersal that can be implemented at enterprises that will address at least some of the attacks that AI is helping the hackers through. And to kind of sum this whole session up, since time is up here, just to sum this up, I'm guessing most of you all have heard of game theory, right? So when you talk about game theory, it's different types of principles or ways that you can do, or strategies that you can follow in order to win a game, right? And I believe this applies to even us, right? I believe this also applies to life. So there's a thing called the minimax principle, where you minimize the maximum loss. Any game, that's what you do. When you talk about cybersecurity, I believe we have to do the same thing, right? You need to be able to minimize the maximum loss for your organization. Figure out how your guys are going to come in. Understand, so you choose strategies that minimize your maximum loss so that you don't give them enough room to play, and you make sure that you're not the one who's losing the most there. Then cyber applications where you start prioritizing layered protection opposed to, let's assume one stage fails, why not the second stage make sure that it secures it. So these are all different types of methods that you probably can use that can be implemented to game theory as well. And then real world win. So it's not like just attack. Like I said, don't wait for someone to hit you to hit back. It's a game of chess opposed to it's just not checkers. So you're actually thinking 2 moves ahead opposed to just trying to stop the attack at that very moment. So we believe AI will help with us doing this. So yeah, to finalize it, so in cybersecurity, minimizing your maximum loss isn't just strategy, it's survival, and I personally resonate with this. And I'm guessing I may got the message across to you guys too. Thank you so much. Y'all can get in touch with me if y'all can scan this QR code. And then if y'all have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And if anyone scanned the QR code, this is probably what you got. Why are you scanning QR? Yep, that's my details. Thank you, guys.